Okay, here we are on the fourth installment of the video series comparing some popular traction control systems. We're taking a look at the MSD ARC Module, the Holley active speed management, and the FuelTech traction control that's built in each of those systems. Compared to the Davis systems, we're looking at the rate of change type systems like the TC3 Series, TC3 SL, TC3 Pro, as well as the profiler system, all of which are patented. I think we have 13 patents now, covering everything from the way we measure RPM to how we set up our zones and ranges to creating our profiles. So trying to show the differences and how what you have built into your current system that everybody wants to say, I've already got that in my EFI, it's not the same. If you're happy with what you've got, then you do you and use it. If you watch these videos and decide the Davis stuff is better, then you just have to decide if you want to spend the money or not. If you continue to say that what you've got is the same thing, you just don't want to spend the money. Plain and simple, because it's not the same. So first, let's take a look. Let's start here at got the profiler set up. So you can see we've used our tools here to set up a nice profile that's very close to the line. Very easy to do. Watch the previous videos. That's a few clicks and you've built this profile. You can edit this very simply, make it how you want. And we've got our stuff set up at 50 RPM and 100 for the rev limiter. And then we've also got our adds at 50-50 below the plot. We can add timing. So, and on the built-in self-learning traction control, we've got middle of the road, mode 5, 50 RPM, 10 degrees, and starts at 200 RPM. So let me, I'm just going to change that to what we've been running. Okay. Actually, we'll put that back. You'll see it come on very early, but this is how you would prevent it from doing that if you didn't want it to. Okay, so let's take a look at our grid setup. To go into here. This is on the ARC module. Let's get connected to that. You can see it's reading what's in the ARC module. Nobody's playing any games or any tricks. So here's our lines. Now to compare these to our plot, we can do this. We're going to bring in that same run we're going to play on the simulator. And you can see it's very close to the line with the limited number of dots and the physical way you move them around, clicking and dragging. You can see it's very difficult to build precise plots, but we got it there as close as we can. And then we will go to the simulator. Again, we can play back runs exactly as they happened, and we'll watch the results here on the race pack. So here on the race pack, we can start a live time. We've got drive shift RPM. This is actually the profiler or the TC3. And then we have the MSD ARC module here. So we will start our live time. And if we go over here and start the simulator. Let me stop the live time and back up. So here's the ARC module. Everywhere it crossed the plotted curves, it made a retard. The retards are based on how far it crossed the curves. Again, back to how critical it is to be able to get the plot right where you want it in the time allowed to do so. This is the profiler. Again, if you don't want doing these early corrections, that's easy enough to fix in your zones. And you can see it's adding and removing timing the whole time as it's crossing that first boundary line, the profile. So a lot more detail This does matter. Your motor reacts to every cylinder that fires. We can affect every cylinder. Speed, let's see here. ARC module and the profiler came on about the same. Profiler is probably just a tad ahead. That's actually the self-learning that's running concurrently here that's activating that. It's seeing that spike start from this dip, whereas the profiler and the ARC module portion of the correction has to wait till it crosses the line. The self-learning is seeing this change where it lays flat and then starts up all of a sudden. So, not bad on the ARC module's part. Did a pretty good job of correcting. Of course, it's not following all this detail for all these little humps and all, because you just can't get the line that close with the 16 or whatever dots, 32 dots or whatever are allowed. So if we run that again, I'm going to turn the profiler portion off and just run the self-learning track control, which requires no plotting, just live real-time corrections. So this is no profiler. You get about the same results there. That could be, our $1,000 TC3. And you get pretty equivalent results. Again, if you don't want this changing, you go and just change the start RPM on the ARC module. Something if you didn't want that working, you would just raise your dots up. Now, just for grins, let's run a completely different run. You had a really bad run and you pedaled the car, went all left off the line, whatever. So we'll run something totally different. Here's what profiler and self-learning TC would do versus what the ARC module would do. Now, in that example, the profiler portion of our corrections did the same as the ARC module, probably nothing, because we're well below that original plot. You see the ARC module did nothing on this bad run, but the self-learning TC was still there to help you out, even though things went completely off the rails and it was just a pedal fest. Who knows what happened, but at least you still have some traction control trying to help you out just on the real-time self-learning. So next we will look at the Holley active speed management. Okay, let's take a look at Holley's active speed management. So we bring up the Holley, we'll sync so you can see it's all the same in both boxes. Apparently it froze up. Let's try that again. There we go. So everything's the same, what you see here on the screen. Okay, zoom in. You can see we've got our first retard line very, very close to the original. Crossing over very quickly. We got retard A, retard B, and rev limit. We're not really dealing with the rev limit. No way to show it dropping cylinders really. So on the race pack. So we've got it set up very tight. I think it's a 20 RPM offset, or it's best I can get with the 31 dots you've got to work with over the entire plot. So there's that. Let's see if we can zoom out. The profiler and the TC3 setup is the same as what we did there in the ARC module. So bring up the race pack. Start the real time. Of course, we got what the profiler TC3 is doing, and we've got the Holley timing here in the orangish color. So let's do it with profiler versus active speed management. So I'm going to run that twice. So you see we have the same results both times. Not really sure why the Holley, well, I do know why, the way they sample RPM. It's missing this one, and I'm pretty positive if we go look at the tune-up, that's the 2-3 gear change, and it's crossing the line. I have no idea why it's not responding to it. I do know why. Again, it's the way they measure RPM. It's got a little bit of a smoothing effect built in, even if you turn the pulses to average down. So we go to back to the race pack. And you also notice the Holley doesn't add timing. It doesn't have that ability. It can only retard or drop cylinders. So there's what active speed management did on this run. Here's what the profiler did. Same as the last one. Let's do a quick run with just the rate of change traction control, no profiler corrections. So here we go. This is just TC3 versus Holley active speed management. Don't know why the Holley didn't respond. The Holley should be working. There we go. Worked that time. No idea what that was about. Good thing it wasn't the finals. Okay, so now we back up. And again, if you don't want it doing this early stuff, that's an easy setting in the start RPM. And then you can see, and the same with Holley, you can move your curves around. Speed-wise, pretty quick. Profiler's a little ahead of it, or the TC3 is a little ahead. Keep in mind the TC3 is not looking at a plot. It just sees this sudden change. So we got good corrections. We even catch this little teeny spin here on the 4th, 5th shift. TC3 reacts to it. Holley does not. This is probably just an error in my plot on the very top. It must be crossing the line by mistake. And then let's do one more run of a totally different run. Again, things go south on you. And, maybe you spun off the line, had to pedal it. And so did he, so you're still racing. So now this is with TC3 versus Holley with a different type of run. And obviously, since it's a much slower run, it's nowhere near the plots we had set up in the profiler or the Holley. The profiler nor the Holley responded at all, but the TC3 is still there, kind of got your back. So that's the advantage of adding the TC3 SL, the self-learning TC, to your profiler or even just standalone. It does a great job by itself. Again, it can get confused or miss things like right here. If it's just nice and smooth but too much wheel speed, the TC3 Series is not going to see that as a problem. It thinks it's just a faster car. It's looking for these spikes, these sudden changes in acceleration. Like you see, let me see if I can zoom in. When this goes from this rate to this rate, it jumps in there and kicks on. And when it's dropping and goes back up suddenly, it was ramping off, it saw this start, and said, oh, no. We're going to do something about that. So that's the Holley versus profiler versus TC3. And next we will go into the FuelTech. Okay, lastly, let's take a look at FuelTech, active speed management. Go. So we've got it set up as close as I can to the line on the retard A. So zoom in here and take a look at that. Again, you've got like 31 dots to work with, so it's following right along the line here. If it's below the line, the FuelTech does have the ability to add. We've got that set for 3 degrees of add, up to. And if it's above the line, it can, there's 2 lines. It resets the zoom every time. it can retard 2 levels. Okay, so we've got 50 RPM between them, same setup as the profiler. And we've got the 3 degrees add minus 10 degrees of retard. And we'll, I guess, write that to the ECU so you know that's what's in there. Again, not trying to play any games, just showing what each system does. All this equipment will be available at PRI. If anybody wants to come by and check it out for themselves, they can run their own simulations. So we do that. Let's pull up the race pack and start that. So again, we've got the Profiler TC3 on the blue, the FuelTech on the mustard yellow there. So this is Profiler and self-learning TC, which is primarily Profiler in this case. So we go from there, we stop that, back up. Okay, so you can see both systems have all the same major corrections. The Profiler is a lot more detailed, a lot faster, a lot smoother. You can see the stair-steppiness in the way that the FuelTech is reacting on the timing. It is able to add, so here, like I say, where it's below the profile, it can add, and then it's retarding on the humps. So pretty good results with the FuelTech. Again, I find the software much harder to use. You're limited number of dots you can use. You're limited in how well you can get those dots to follow the curve. So let's run it again, and we'll compare the FuelTech versus a Davis, just a self-learning TC3, no profiler, which means no plot. Just pretty much plug and play. And the FuelTech decided not to work. Let's try it again. Okay. All right, so we stop this. Again, no idea why some of these other systems occasionally decide not to. I don't know if they're not seeing the trans brake or if it's an internal problem or what. So pretty much the same results without overlaying them. The same results from the FuelTech. Here's a Davis self-learning traction control with no profiler corrections. Okay, so pretty good results out of either system. Again, the Davis TC3 SL, there's no plots, there's nothing set up. It's just looking for rates of change. So we'll do the same test again where our run has gone completely sideways on us, but we're still racing. So this is TC3 versus FuelTech with a run that's not on the profile like expected. So the FuelTech did see that first big spike at the beginning, or where it crossed the profile, and then that's all it did. Whereas the Davis TC3 SL, which again can be added to your profiler, is still there in the background doing its thing, trying to stop wheel spin. So I think it's pretty easy to see that no, these systems are not the same. Starting with the way that we measure RPM, the way we bring it in raw, we don't do any filtering, any smoothing. Sometimes that makes us a little susceptible to being, you got to have your ring sensor gap and alignment and all just right to get clean signal. But once you do that, we've got extreme speed in the way we're measuring RPM. We can try to download the profiler. Well, it's going to look just like this. So there's a profiler run, and you can see the detail that it's moving the timing with, the accuracy, as it goes above and below these plots. So if I zoom in on a section, go in there, here you can see it's, I mean, barely below the line, and we're adding timing. adding. Right here, we're barely above. I mean, just a couple RPM, and we're pulling timing. So the accuracy, the speed is one of our major advantages. And then just the software, the way we can manipulate the graphs, the speed at which we manipulate graphs. We can actually at the racetrack between rounds, you can get more done and actually use the system. What I see all the time with the other systems guys is have a plot in there. They run the same plot run after run after run. It's more of a safety net, not a tuning feature. So anyway, there's a reason why we have 13 patents. If you're curious about that, you can look into, go to our website. And again, all these videos are also on our blog. They're on our Facebook page. I mean, they're on Facebook. They're on our YouTube page. Bottom of every one of our web pages, you can go right here. You can go get yourself some Google patent searches, and you'll see we've been at this for a long time. Since 99, 97 is when we started. 99, we came out with the first products or so. I think the first patent issued in 01 maybe, and patents as recently as this year. So we're continuing development. We don't stop. Again, the blog has this video series, starting with 1, 2, 3. This is 4, will be posted up here shortly. And that's about it. Go look at the data, look at your software, look at our software, make your own decision, and you be you. If you don't mind leaving 10, 20, 30% out there on the at the trailer, want to save a little money, then do that. But you're spending an awful lot of money every weekend to go racing to leave anything behind. Have a good one. Call us if you have any questions. Come see us at PRI. Again, all this equipment will be there. If anybody wants to question these setups or results, we're there for the challenge. Thank you for watching.